Welcome to the Lenopreneur Show. I'm Michelle Carter. This show was created to sort of document my journey as I go through the process of creating my business here in London, Ontario. If you want to find out more details, you can visit us at lenopreneurs.ca. My first guest today is Ron Kipp from the franchise department. I met Ron through from the Small Business Center, going through the self-employment benefit. Also at some various networking events over the course of my time here in the last couple of months. And I was lucky enough to have him sit down and kind of tell me why he went through the same program and what he learned becoming an entrepreneur here in London. He owns the franchise department, which is in the industry of buying, selling, and franchising businesses. So I want to thank you for listening. Thank you, Ron Kipp, for coming today. How are you?
I am terrific.
That's
good. It's great to be here.
Great. So you are the owner of the franchise department.
Well, yes.
And
among other things.
Among other things. Oh, do tell.
Okay. Well, I actually operate several businesses under the same roof. As a franchise consultant, I started the franchising department in 2006 to help small and medium-sized franchise companies to sell franchises, actually. I'm a business broker. I sell existing businesses through a real estate company I started in 1990. But they're established, already going businesses versus the franchising department, which is concepts more than established businesses. And the franchising department developed into a call center because it was built on a call center model. So I have a contact center that's called Appointment Link, and we set appointments for group benefit consultants for the Better Business Bureau across Ontario. And you might find me on weekends doing the odd wedding for All Seasons Weddings. So I guess I have about 4 different businesses.
4 businesses going. So where do you think in your history did you get the entrepreneur bug?
Oh, I had that way back. I was a frustrated entrepreneur from all through my corporate life, and I had several corporate positions, and so I always wanted to be in business for myself. And when a contract I had with a company as a franchise development director of franchise development ended, I decided to start my own business, and that was in 2006. So I've been at it now for 8 years.
What was that business?
The business that I worked at.
First one that you started.
Oh, the franchising department.
Okay, so
and I'm still operating the same business. It's just that it kind of evolved into appointment link business, and but the business brokerage business I had all the way along.
Okay, so. Very good. Yeah. So, anything in your childhood maybe that kind of you can look back now that said, "Yeah, I was born to be an entrepreneur," or?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I was always sales oriented, I guess, and I always loved to sell stuff. But I don't think there was anything that in the childhood that made me want to be in my own business. It was actually quite a bit later. I kind of evolved from a technician. You know, the E-Myth is a great kind of thing. That's what happened to me.
The book.
I was a technician, and then I could see that the end of the line for what I was doing, and I thought, well, I'm going to get into marketing, and got into marketing, and then once I get into marketing, and it just kind of evolved into being wanting to be in business for myself.
Very good.
You know, I guess I learned what not to do from other people, and thought I could do this better.
So, yeah, that's definitely a good strategy. Yeah. So, have you had any formal education?
I was a graphic artist in high school, and then when I worked nights at the Free Press, I went I went to Fanshawe College, and graduated from Fanshawe College. Went to day school, worked nights, went to day school, and graduated business administration with a marketing major.
Oh, wow.
So that was, but it took a number of years to do that.
Yeah,
so,
it took you time.
Yeah.
What do you like about having your own business in 2014?
Well, I like the freedom of having my own business, being able to make decisions and being able to evolve the business. I mean, I started the franchising department under a call center model, and then one of the franchisors asked me if I could set appointments for his franchisees. And after looking around and realizing that by the time I bought the software to schedule appointments on a one-call basis, I couldn't make any money on it. So I had the software written. And then we got doing the inbound appointments, and I thought, well, why don't we do outbound appointments? So I got into doing outbound. So then I had actually a 12-seat call center doing inbound and outbound.
Oh, wow.
Now, the recession put an end to that in
Yeah.
2008, but that's one of the things I like about being an entrepreneur is you can move quickly, and you don't have to be concerned about bureaucracy when you want to make those decisions.
And how do you like doing business in London?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I think London's big enough that there's enough business for everybody, but it's still small enough you can cross it in 20 minutes most days, and it's just a good place, and there's lots of good people here and good ideas. And I mean, I work with people that are successful entrepreneurs that want to franchise their businesses, and I've worked with 6 so far out of London without trying to market my services across the country, and so there's a lot of good entrepreneurial businesses here that are growing. I met with 2 people this week that have got good businesses they're considering franchising. So,
do you want to tell details?
No.
It's part of your secret sauce, right? And I understand you went through the self-employment benefit. Is that correct?
I did. I enjoyed that very much. It was. I really didn't learn anything new at the SCB program because I had a significant corporate background, and I had been involved in the startup of businesses and things like that at the corporate level. But what it did do is bring focus to all that. Starting a business from scratch, and it made me, stick to the program, which was good. It was a good program. I met some great people that were all in the same position I was, which was unemployed at the present time. And I used the services of some of those people to get my business going because it involved technology and telephone software and all kinds of things. And there was people in that program that provided that service. And I still use the bookkeeper that was in my program today.
Oh, wow.
So,
when did you go through? What year was that?
It was 2006.
2006,
yeah,
okay.
2006. In June of 2006, I formally started the franchising department, so it was earlier in 2006.
Do you think you would have started your business without that help of the SCB program?
Yes, but I think it would have taken a lot longer.
Yeah?
Yeah,
So it was sort of accelerated because of that?
Yeah, because there was deadlines to meet, and there was you had to have your business plan done by such and such a date. Well, my business plan would have taken a lot longer had I not gone through that program, I'm sure. So,
yeah.
And the help, it was great. My advisor, who was Gord Evans, had been in the franchise business. He had worked for a franchise chain, and so he kind of understood what I was trying to accomplish. And,
yeah, he's got a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What do you have on the horizon for 2014 on to 2015? Any goals you want to share with us?
Well, yeah, one of the things that I have a bit of a challenge with is finding time to do what I really want to do, because when you operate, work in 4 different opportunities, and then you have life getting in the way from time to time, it's difficult to evolve your business, both from a manpower and also through further resources, having the financial resources to do that.
What is it then that you really want to do?
Well, I want to move my business to something that is less hands-on and more virtual, let's say.
Automated too.
Yeah. I'm halfway through a book. And it's to help entrepreneurs, actually. I plan to do a series of books.
You're writing a book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The first one's on commercial leasing. Mm-hmm. I've been fortunate to... I've been in... Besides my own business and starting it, I was involved in the purchase and sale of over 100 businesses,
wow.
Both on the corporate side and by working for myself. And also, I've mentored 3 people through the Canadian Youth Business Foundation, and I've discovered that a lot of them, had they known certain things before, it would have been a good help. You don't know what you don't know, so
yeah.
I want to write a series of books to help young, well, not necessarily young. I mean, I wasn't young when I became an entrepreneur, but I want to be able to help people. It's sort of just the basics, not a textbook, but what you kind of need to know, about, and I can do one on appointment setting, mm-hmm. and I can do one on, which is pretty critical when you're starting a business.
Yeah.
No appointments, no business. So I, of course, I've been a licensed commercial realtor for almost 30 years. And so that's where the commercial leasing background came.
So you're going to share your experiences in writing
exactly.
this book.
Yeah,
nice.
Exactly. And for the ones, the illustrations of I'm going to solicit the illustrations of some others that have been in the business for a long time, but that's the sort of thing I want to do, and I want to put together some programs that I can actually sell online,
okay.
Franchising your business, how to sell your business if you have an established business.
Like a webinar sort of.
Well, yeah, I wasn't thinking more. I was thinking more about a workbook kind of thing. But
okay.
But this is evolving. This is what I want to get to.
Yeah.
Is because when you sell a business, you're kind of tied to it, and so I have some businesses for sale, but they keep me here in London, and they keep me, because if somebody wants to see it or whatever, you got to be available. Whereas if I'm working online, not so much. So that's the plan for the future, near future.
Yeah, sounds exciting.
Yeah, more consulting, less hands-on work.
Okay. Let's that experience go to some good use.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you go to a lot of networking events here in London?
I do. I try to attend as many as I can. I think that networking is the most cost-effective way to build your business. Having said that, if you want to get business through networking, it's not as easy as it sounds. It's just a little more difficult. It requires some research, a strategic approach to networking and some planning. And just showing up at networking groups or events or whatever just doesn't cut it. You need to go. Not long ago, I wrote a marketing manual for a franchise company, and this particular company would benefit from networking. So I sat down and I wrote the section on networking. It was over 20 pages long. I couldn't believe that, oftentimes when you're involved in something for a long time, like marketing or whatever, you don't realize how much you've accumulated. And if you're trying to write something for somebody that really has no knowledge of business or anything, it can be quite time consuming to do that. But anyway, networking. If you want to learn about how to network effectively, there's some great resources right here in London.
Do you have an example?
Of them, yes, I do. As a matter of fact, one of them is networkingtoday.ca. Yeah, networkingtoday.ca. And a business actually I franchised. And Alison Graham from London, who used to work at the Free Press, has written many articles and a book on networking. So the resources are right here if you want to learn how to network effectively. To the question about London's networking events, I seldom come away from any event that I attend without having met somebody or having learned something.
Yeah.
And to me, that's important. It keeps life interesting.
Absolutely.
I'm a networking kind of guy.
Do you have a favorite networking group in London? I know I've seen there's quite a few on networking today.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I think there's 43.
Wow.
But no, I'm not a big fan of the weekly ones. The weekly BNI business networking. I'm a big fan of those because in my business, there isn't that many. The target market's much smaller for my kind of business than it might be for an electrician or a plumber or an insurance salesman or something like that. So I have been members of ones that met every week, but I found that were really referral based. And it was difficult for me to provide referrals, and quite frankly, I didn't get a whole lot of referrals. So I like to work in ones that meet less often, but have more of a focus on building relationships than actually getting referrals.
Okay.
Because the whole basis is before you give somebody a referral, you want to know, like, and trust them.
Yeah.
And you only do that by building a relationship. So
what sort of networking events can we attend to find you?
Well, let me see. This week I went to Mo Mondays for the first time.
Okay.
And I really quite enjoyed that. I bought my tickets for the next event.
Very good.
So it was interesting to go and hear people's personal stories about that were motivating.
Yes.
And so I enjoyed that. I go to one called Power of Networking every 2 weeks, which I find and it has about 40 members. I mean, some networking groups are kind of struggling, and some of them are really quite doing very well. Mm-hmm. And the Power of Networking is one of them that's doing very well because it just has a whole lot of interesting people that all contribute and help out.
We'll be sure to add a link to the show notes.
Well, that'd be good.
So what sort of things do you struggle with your business?
Well, I mentioned before that life can get in the way. When you start your own business, you have a tendency to put everything into that business, and things like your house can fall apart. If you keep that up for 2 or 3 years. So I guess if I struggle mostly, it's with the resources to do the expansion, to move to what I want to move to. In my business, not everybody wants to franchise a business today, so I have a limited target market, which makes limited number of customers. And with business brokerage, it's built on a model, the whole real estate model that I feel is broken, which is straight commission when whatever it is sells, and it needs to move, in my mind, to a more fee for service, and that's happening. But in the meantime, in my business brokerage business, it requires a significant upfront investment, and if it sells later on, 46% of my businesses I list do sell, but there's the other percentage that don't sell.
Yeah.
When you get paid, it seems like the obligations that you have already built up take all that expansion money. So anyway, so that's something I struggle with. I have the solutions of problem. I got a vision for a restructured company, and I'm going to move to that in the future. So.
Great. And my last question, what advice do you have for our listeners to give those who are thinking about starting their own business?
Well, Michelle, I will tell you that I have several things here that I've put together. So I guess the very first one that I learned when I started my own business was to do extensive research. Now, I did what I thought was extensive research, but I didn't ask the right question. Had I asked one more question, which happened to be the question I would ask is to my target market, is there anything else in your business that you could use help with? Is there anything that, if I had have asked that question, I would have learned that somebody could use an appointment setting business. Rather, I found that out quite later, after I'd already spent my borrowed money. So I had to fund that myself.
Yeah.
And so that type of thing, the research is really important before you go into business, especially the opportunities and trends and things like that. For some people, and I give you a perfect example of this one. I just did a franchise plan for a company in the funeral business, and I was like, you hear about the baby boomers and how they're going to get, the aging Ontarians and all this sort of stuff. Well, actually, the numbers are that between now and 2036, the people over 80 are going to increase at a rate of 6% per year. It's huge. It's incredible. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're in the funeral service business, this is wonderful. Mm-hmm. Okay, because once they hit 80, it's they're moving right into your target market. But conversely, if you saw that trend a few years ago and you decided you should be in the helping seniors business, in one of our networking friends, Chris Curry, just told me this the other day, that in 2011, when he went into business, I think there was 14 or 15 competitors he had. He has now 43.
Wow.
Now, that's only 3 years.
And he's in the healthcare.
And so he's in the healthcare. He provides healthcare to services to seniors. It's called, his business is called Retire at Home. But so there's a situation where, the research, it's fine when you're looking at it and saying, okay, I'm going to go into this business because, wow, look at all the seniors there's going to be. But you also have to think, okay, what's the competition going to be like? I mean, it's just, it's you need to look into those opportunities and threats, and for the the concept, the target market, that sort of thing. That's number one. That's number one.
What's number two?
Retain professional help. You don't know what you don't know, and I'm talking about things like accountants and lawyers and insurance brokers and commercial realtors. I'm kind of fond of those. Yeah. But you can't just get any old one. You have to get your people to refer you to people that. I went through 3 accountants before I found one that related well to me.
Oh, wow.
Rather than just was kind of a stuffy professional, whatever they teach you at accounting school or lawyer school or whatever, about how to deal with clients. I wanted somebody that I really related with, and it took a while to find those, but you definitely need to do them. You have to get the advice of people that have been there, mm-hmm. and that's if I had followed my own advice when I started my call center, I would have saved myself over $600 a month for 2 years. Okay, because there was things available that I didn't know were available, and so I went with a higher priced alternative, and it was expensive. So retain professional help. Another thing is plan for everything to take longer than you think it will. Okay, I mean.
Isn't it everybody wants to do everything done yesterday?
Well, it's not only that, but when you're putting your business plan together and you're thinking to yourself, oh yeah, well this won't take very long to do this. Yeah, right. Okay, like my technology took me 3 more months than I anticipated, which means that I was paying rent for 3 months before I had any income coming in.
Oh wow.
Which was just. But I say, oh well, I could get that happening in 30 days. Well, the guys on the other end, didn't respond as quickly, and it just took a lot longer. So it just seems that everything will take longer. So when you're doing that business plan, just add a month for everything.
Okay, good rule.
So, plan for a possible disaster. And I mean this both on a human resources point and financially. In my 8 years in business, I've had a recession, and the recession wasn't bad itself because there wasn't a whole lot of new business coming in. But when you're operating a call center and you have contracts that you'll cover the phones for people for from 9 to 9, but of course we have a country that has more than one time zone in it.
Yeah.
And you have these contracts and you charge by the time that they consume, which I thought was a terrific idea, and rather than by the call or whatever. So people paid us by the amount of use that they got. When the phones shut off, when one of our contractors was we had on contract was Global Psychics, and it was great. They got phone calls from all over North America. It seems that psychics are real good on doing readings, but not so much on collecting money and stuff. So that's why we did that. But when the recession came, it was like somebody turned the tap off, and I had people sitting there from 9 to 9 not getting any calls. So it was a very expensive lesson, about just something like that that's totally out of your control. And that was quickly followed by a fire in the unit next to me. And there was no fire separation. So, that was and yes, it's fine, you have insurance and everything else, but the reality is that, you can be out of business overnight, and it's something that's totally out of your control. Mm-hmm. So you got to plan for the disasters. The last one was a flood. And the pipe broke in the unit above me. This just happened February on the long weekend. And, I moved my office home after having this one office for 8 years, and I moved it home because I figured the universe has spoke to me now 3 times about my office. So it's now operates out of my basement.
What a hint! Wow.
So plan for the disasters. Design and document process for business.
Yeah.
That's something I doubt very many entrepreneurs do. Okay. But you do it for a couple of reasons. One, you can tend to take a vacation, okay? And if you're self-employed, that can be, somebody can do that. I documented everything, and my daughter was able to run the business for a week when I went on vacation. And or if you get ill, I mean, there's all kinds of illnesses that can put you out, and it would be good to have your business continue. So if you design and document the processes that anybody could follow, then you've got that covered. Another one would be managing your profit margins. It takes as much effort to sell something with a small profit margin as it does something with a large profit margin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it does. And also, there's with the internet and you can find suppliers now so easily of things. And I have a friend that owns a couple of marathons. Not that I ever knew people could own marathons till that's what he's doing. But he told me that he joined up with somebody else and they started a couple other marathons. And this other fellow had a contact, and he buys those technical shirts that they give out at marathons. He saved $25,000 on one marathon. So, just by changing suppliers. Wow. So, you got to, just not be happy with the status quo, but continually look to improve your profit margins on things. And sometimes when I work with companies to franchise their businesses, if you have to have a franchisable business, you need to have very good profit margins, because you have to be able to take a percentage of those profits out of that. That's what the franchisor gets, the royalties and the things, and still be able to earn a good living out of it. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes, if you don't have those profit margins, you can't franchise what's otherwise a good business. So, I would also say to manage your cash flow. That's a very, very important one, and it's the little things. It's like having a purchase order, so that whoever you sign up to do business with, they're obligated to pay for the whole thing, even if it's delivered in pieces or you charge as the work progresses or whatever it is. But if you don't have a purchase order and something that says, deposits are not refundable, you can wind up in situations where people want their money back, and you've already done a lot of work, and it's just what happens in doing business with multiple people. So that sort of thing. And credit cards, if you can take credit cards and then make it easy for people to pay, and it saves you hours trying to collect money later, because you just can't win them all when it comes to people paying their bills.
Yeah.
I would say find efficiencies with technology and outsourcing is another one. I mean, when I run one of my first businesses, I just kept putting the bookkeeping off and putting it off, and it's something, why would I pay somebody to do that? I can do that. And I bought Simply Accounting and everything else. And when I started the franchising department, I thought, oh, no way, boy, I'm going to get a bookkeeper, and I'm going to make sure my government payments are kept up to date, and my taxes and all that sort of stuff. Because there's nothing like Revenue Canada coming along to you and saying, well, geez, you haven't filed taxes for 3 or 4 years now, so we're just going to assess what that tax was, and then we're going to take 35% of your income, okay, to cover that tax that we've decided you owe.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. Trust me, I've been there. So managing the cash flow and using technology and also professionals that you know what you do well. Leave the other stuff to somebody else and pay them to do that. And take time to plan and execute and review and revise the plan, that sort of thing. Business evolves, and you got to be on top of what your customers want, and then deliver what your customers want. And when you do that, they'll stay with you. And last but not least is take time to market your products and services. I can't tell you how many businesses that get in trouble because they go out and they find the business, and then they work like heck to deliver the product or service, and then they come back and say, no, okay, so now what am I going to do next week, because I haven't sold anything.
Oh yeah.
So what I tried to do in my business was every Friday morning, I would do the follow-ups, do the things that you needed to do to build business so that it was ongoing, so you didn't wind up having to spend a whole week doing your marketing because you didn't have anything else to do to produce. So that would be a key one is market your products and services. Take time to do that during your busy schedule. So.
And do you believe that's something the business owner should manage, or is that something that could be outsourced?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on your business, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, for those Better Business Group consultants, we set appointments for them. Okay, I mean, we do the cold calling,
mm-hmm.
And it works really good for them. We've been doing this for a number of years, so it works.
So do focus on the marketing and even...
So my company, or at least my contractor that works for me,
mm-hmm.
He's the one that sets the appointments, but and we have a process, and we go through the province of Ontario on a consistent basis, and they're very, very happy with that. So yes, you could outsource that if that worked, but for many sole proprietors,
mm-hmm.
they are the sales team,
mm-hmm.
and my point is that they need to set about some time on a regular, consistent basis to do that marketing, to do that cold calling, or whatever it is that they do. And I mean, the government's now made it a little more difficult without, you can't just sit back and send emails anymore.
Yeah.
So, you have to really give that marketing some thought and
mm-hmm.
have a plan.
Yeah.
Was the one before. Have a plan. Take time to
Absolutely.
plan. So, anyway.
Great. Well, I want to thank you so much for this interview and coming by today.
Oh, you're welcome. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope that many entrepreneurs listen, and I'm always available too. I don't mind talking to young people. Like I said, I mentor people for the Canadian Youth Business Foundation, and so anytime anybody ever wanted to ask me some questions, I'm available.
Yeah,
it's
where can we find
the franchising department, And the best thing's to phone me. It's 519-672-7700.
There you go. Open line to start asking Ron some questions. Great. Well, take care.
Thanks.